Everybody, welcome to Drive Thru Review 459. Today I'm going to talk about something a little bit different. This is the Reaper Bones Miniatures Learn to Paint Kit. So this is not a board game. I normally do board game reviews on here, but this week I'm kind of working on some different stuff. And I've had a chance to actually use this and paint some of the miniatures that comes with it. So what it is, it's a kit of some various paints that you can get. You get some brushes. You also get 3 different miniatures with different kind of like textures. So you get a skeleton miniature and an orc, and then also like a warrior and a lot of plate armor. So it gives you some different techniques and some walkthroughs and everything to paint those and kind of introduce you to the world of painting. Now, I have never ever painted a miniature until I opened this kit. I've done painting and drawing and stuff like that in the past, so I do have like a little bit of knowledge of mixing colors and all that kind of stuff. But I never painted a miniature. I never painted any 3D object. Well, not technically, but that's a long story. But anyway, so let's take a look at what comes in this box here, and then I'll tell you a little bit about my thoughts on it and just about painting in general. Okay, here you can see the kit. I've got some extra things off to the side here, and then the painted final miniatures there. But let's go ahead and open up this kit. It's a nice little carrying case that you can actually make use of, once you learn to paint all these miniatures that are in here. Now here is the guide, and you can see here is sort of an idea of what the 3 miniatures should look like at the end. So you got the skeleton and the orc, and then this is the Mongu Teamer. And it gives you a list of the different colors. You get 11 colors here. And then it starts you off very basically, and you get to start with the skeleton, and you do that, and it teaches you to apply a base coat and do a wash, and just some other simple techniques like dry brushing. And then you've got 2 kinds of dry brushing really. It's a base dry brush and then some highlights and stuff like that. So you can see, you kind of add on a little bit of dry brush, and you can kind of see some of the highlights and so on. And then some of the finer details like the eye sockets and the bow and all that kind of stuff, and painting the ground texture. And then you can move on to the orc. You can see he's got the chainmail and some of the highlights on his shield there. And then this guy here. And then it gives you some other information, and these are other paints you can order from Reaper and so on. And then very simply you get these paints. This doesn't come with it. And these are a decent quality paints. I picked this up for 30 bucks on Amazon and had the free shipping with it. And I think, however that works out to the paints, 30 divided by 11, so a little less than 3 bucks, 2 bucks something plus the minis. So call it 2 bucks a pot. And then you actually get some brushes here, which I'll show you. The toothbrush does not come with it, but they do tell you to actually scrub off the miniature. Just kind of give it some soapy water and clean it with the toothbrush. So I just threw that in there. And they give you these 2 brushes like so. You have this sort of, I probably won't focus on that, but this very thin, they call it a number 0 brush, and then a number 2 brush with a little bit wider thing there. And you don't have to do, well, you have to do a little bit of color mixing, but not a ton. You don't have to mix like very complex colors. There's usually just 2 colors with maybe like a drop of this yellow here, which is called pale saffron. So the colors are very interesting. Now the other thing that I added to this was got a little bit of newspaper, sort of act as a palette, and then you can kind of just peel it off and throw it away. You could just use printer paper or whatever. The toothbrush. Now this here, I just found an old medicine bottle here, and you just put some double-sided tape, and then from there you can actually attach the miniature on top of there, and then that way you can kind of rotate it and stuff like that. So that's extra. And then here, of course, I got a little plastic container for water, and then this guy here. This is not just this paint here. There's a bunch of other paint from other things. So I have those. So a couple of bucks maybe on top of this, and then you're ready to go. And I found it very easy, and we can take a look here. Again, this is somebody that has done a little bit of drawing and stuff, but never painted a miniature. Here's the skeleton here. I think it came out pretty good. This is the very first one that I painted, so it has a little bit of a special place in my heart. And then on the back here you can see it's got the little quiver and all that stuff there. You can see the grass. I'm not sure how this is coming out, but it should look okay. And then the next one I will show you is my least favorite one that came out, and this is the warrior here. You can see the shading on here isn't that great. I think I can do a better job of shading. Somebody pointed that out to me online. Now the back actually looks a little bit better in terms of the shading. You can see on the shoulder pad, and then a little bit here. Then you got the sword and the nice shield there, which is pretty cool. And they do a good job of kind of telling you the order in which you're going to paint things. So as I was painting the skeleton, this, I kind of focused mostly on this one first, and I spent about, let's say, 4 hours, and I completed this one. And then I had probably at the end of the 4 hours gotten these about probably 80 or 90% done, these two. And so you can kind of juggle as you read through the techniques, and to me it was super very clear how everything worked. And then the one that I'm most proud of, I guess, is this orc here. I really liked how the face turned out, the teeth, the eyes, and the skin I think turned out really nice. Probably not the best lighting here, but some nice shading on the skin there. You can see the muscles are pretty well defined. And then you have the, I don't know what that little, like I guess it's a chest piece, with the dots there, and then he's got sort of like a fur, sort of beat up fur covering that, and then of course his chainmail there. A little mistake there, but I kind of like it. Maybe it's crappy chainmail and it's all clinked up there. And he's got the cool sword. I like the pose. This is kind of a little bit more aggressive looking type of guy there. So I really liked how this turned out, and this is basically the second miniature I ever did. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. I would totally play with that. I certainly wouldn't enter it into a miniature painting competition, but I would totally throw it on my table. So I would recommend this highly. If you have the inkling at all to paint miniatures, and I think the idea is great, is because you get 3 miniatures. They're not related to any games that you have. I'm a board gamer, so I wouldn't want to like whip out the fire giant from Blood Rage and start painting on that, because I'm like, well, I'm going to screw up my Blood Rage copy that I really like. And those miniatures look good enough unpainted, really. I mean, we haven't played with painted miniatures yet on it and really get into the theme and everything. So I would recommend this. I think 30 bucks, it's a no-brainer. There's plenty and tons of leftover paint. Even if you didn't get Reaper paints, you could probably find other different paints, and then use this kit here to store your brushes and all that kind of stuff. And there's room here, you can see, to throw all this stuff back in here. And so you've got a nice kit that you can just put everything away in very neatly. And I think it's a really good deal for what it is. And I don't know that Reapers are the best paints. I think they're decent paints, at least they're the ones that I've heard of. So yeah. So that is that, and you won't see my talking head to review it, but I think it's a good buy. I've seen it for 30 bucks. I've seen it a little bit more. I would get it definitely for 30 bucks, and it's fun. It's, it took me, like I said, about 4 hours for this guy, and then a little bit more work on top of that for these two, probably another 2 hours or so. So about 6 hours between the 3, which isn't too bad for somebody that's never done it, and I could see myself, getting quicker at it and better at it. And then really just trying to investigate, okay, how would I do this technique if I had a different kind of armor? What would I do? I feel like a little bit more confident I could go to some different places and learn some of the techniques online through video and stuff. And I'll actually, if you look in the description of the video, I'll put a link to a couple of YouTube channels and a couple, maybe 1 or 2 in particular that I think of, sort of written guides. So not unlike the guide that comes with this, for other paints and stuff, but I would definitely pick this up. Like I said, I like the fact that it gives you everything you need. It gives you the miniatures. You can just open up and paint and see if you enjoy it, and then if you like it, then you can get into it a little bit deeper. Okay, thanks.